turn to you. You're all I see. Our love's a monster with two heads and one heartbeat. I turn to you. You're all I see. Our love's a monster with two heads and one heartbeat. We just got caught up in...
Chances are you've heard that song somewhere in the last few months. It's called Two Heads, and the artist, Thunder Bay's Coleman Hell, dropped by our newsroom to tell us how that debut single made the journey from his laptop to the internet to radio stations across North America. Coleman, welcome to our newsroom.
Thanks for having me.
Tell me the story of this song. Where did you write it?
I wrote and recorded it in my living room in about a couple hours in a night, just on like a $200 microphone and like my MacBook. And I had a publicist friend that I used to kind of work this song, I guess, to some blogs on the internet, and it sort of took off from there. It climbed up these like charts on the internet, like Hype Machine, and started getting all these hits on Spotify, and then all of a sudden these labels were calling me, and then it was on the radio. So yeah, it all happened really quickly.
So this is just from releasing that song through this site.
Yeah.
I mean, there are thousands, probably tens of thousands of songs that get released every week. What was it that, besides the fact that it's got a great sound to it, but why do you think it caught on the way it did?
I think once I recorded it, I knew that it was probably the best thing I'd written to date, and I wanted to release it as soon as possible. And I think there's a uniqueness about kind of mixing this rootsy instrument with electronic music. I think that's something that catches people's ear. And then I also think like the lyrical content of the song resonates with people because it's sort of an atypical love song. It's sort of like a codependency anthem. It's about sort of like an imperfect relationship, but focusing on the good parts of an imperfect relationship and why it's so hard to pull apart from someone who may not be healthy for you to be with, because there's these things that other people don't see that are kind of great. And I think that's kind of a realer scenario than people give it credit for, and there's not a lot of songs about that.
So the theme was interesting and probably resonated with people, but so did the instrumentals,
Definitely.
Including the banjo sound,
Yeah.
Which is not a banjo.
I turn to you. You're all I see. Our love's a monster with two heads and one heartbeat. I turn to you. You're all I see. Our love's a monster with two heads and one heartbeat. We just got caught up in the moment.
It's essentially like notes of a banjo sampled across a keyboard, and it's being played on a synthesizer, so it kind of sounds a bit unnatural, which I think is what I like about it. And a lot of the music I'm making now, it does similar things where I take rootsier instruments, but I sample them, and they don't sound like how they typically would sound if they were just played by hand.
So no banjo players are mad at you?
Maybe some are, I'm not sure. We actually enlisted a real banjo player to try and play the line after the song was written, and it just didn't have the same, I don't know, je ne sais quoi as the fake banjo.
And tell me about, because I always think about this with people who write songs, especially going from your living room to the radio. Do you remember where you were when you first heard that song on the radio?
I was driving around with my manager, and I think it came on The Edge in Toronto. And I heard my voice, I heard my name beckoning through the radio. Coleman Hell, Two Heads on The Edge. And I grew up listening to classic rock radio in my hometown, and to hear my name said like that in the classic radio voice was pretty surreal.
Did you pull over? Did you yell?
I think I was overcome with some emotion of some sort. Maybe I held back a tear or some type of joy. Well, to me, when I was younger, I'm 26, so when I was younger, I grew up when I was little, there wasn't downloading, and the radio was a huge thing to me. So for me to be on the radio now is important to me.
Absolutely. All right, well, we have much more to talk about, but let's leave it there for now. Thanks.